are 250, at least pre-COVID, there were 250 nationalities living in Dubai. I don't know where that happens anywhere else in the world. I don't know if there's any other city in the world that can boast of having 250 nationalities all living in harmony.
Well, hello there, and a warm welcome to season 2 of the Road to Success podcast with me, the Lady Mayowa. It is so good to be back in the studio, brand new studio this time around. Check them out in the description. And an exciting woman sitting in my chair. Ladies and gentlemen, she's a woman that is known. Like, if I had to start reading about her bio, my gosh. But I'm sure that in the conversation, you will get to know so much more about her. Welcome with me, the one and only Stella Fubara.
It is hard to live up to that kind of introduction. I am under her umbrella, and I'll answer all questions and be obedient.
I said, I'm going to make you take an oath and say whatever Mayowa asks.
Okay, I take that back. Because now I'm getting scared.
It's too late. Well, don't worry. Trust me, you're in safe hands. How does it feel to be sitting here? I'm so excited. I can't hide it. I hope you're excited as well.
I know that you asked me a long time ago, and because of travel and work-related events, I was not available. And when a space came up, I was like, oh my gosh, let me call Mayowa and tell her I'm available, because in a couple of weeks, I'll be on the road again. So yes, I'm really happy to be here.
Do you remember how we first met?
Wow.
I know.
Was it through Dubai Tourism?
So let me tell you.
Okay. Dang, I can't.
When I just came to Dubai, this was 2019. And I mean, I was still fresh. Of course, I'd moved in, didn't know anything. There was nothing to follow. There was no template for me to follow. I had to build it from scratch. But this one I knew. I was going to be doing stuff for channels here. And I thought about it. What do you need to get this work going? You need people. You need access. And then I think it was William Stenhouse or someone, but I'm thinking it was William Stenhouse that mentioned, that said, oh, there's this Nigerian lady. She works at Dubai Tourism and da-da-da. I'm like, ooh, a Nigerian lady who's high up there? That's the person I need to be talking to. And so I think he gave me your number. I don't know if he took a permission from you, but he gave me your number. And then I remember, I think, calling you or so. Now, this were the days where you, and I think, I mean, it still happens from time to time, but then you used to bring in like Bella Naija for like activations and all those things. So I'd seen like, oh, they bring people. So I'm already here. You don't even need to fly me in. I just want you to include me in whatever you're doing. So I'd called you, and I think I tried to introduce myself and say, I am here, I'm representing channels. And I just want you to pretty much along those.
Okay, wait. Was I nasty?
I wouldn't say nasty. I wouldn't say nasty, but this is how I processed it. Number one, you didn't know me. This was a phone conversation. So, and then in retrospect, I saw that on your WhatsApp. She's like, you're like, if it's textable, text me. If it's not textable, make it a text.
Quickest way to reach me is the text message. I'll respond in seconds, but a phone call, I have phone phobia.
So, I mean, in retrospect, I'm looking at your position and God knows 1,001 requests that you get. I think about, actually, it makes sense. She doesn't know me. Now this person has called me from God knows where, asking for something. So that didn't work out. I can't remember exactly what you said, but obviously it was like, no road. And then, which we will unpack. So this was 2019. Fast forward, COVID hits. And I can't remember what happened, but I remember Christian started reaching out.
Yeah, because I gave Christian your contact information.
So I can't remember that, what happened there, but I know that I started, like Christian from Dubai Tourism used to reach out to me. At this point, I'm afraid. I'm like, all these government people are looking for me. Am I safe? I legit used to be afraid, so much so that I didn't really used to warm up to Christian. Like, you would ask me, what are you working on? Da, 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 da. I just like, nothing. I'm just, because I was afraid. I think that was my Nigeria thing going on there. You're just afraid when government is looking for you. But please, when government is looking for you, sometimes it's for the good reason. And that's how it started. So,
Well, the precursor to that is everyone who contacts me and tells me what they do and what they're looking for, I file the information away. There might not be an opportunity at that time, but I don't believe in pushing people into something that God hasn't made for them yet, because then it won't
we're
go
not even
right.
5 minutes in yet. My gosh.
So I always tell people, you might not hear from me this year, this month, and even next year, but when it's right, I'm going to know and I will call you. And so in my role at that time, they wanted exposure on a TV station in Nigeria. And I was like, boom, there's someone here already.
That was a beautiful thing to have happened to me in 2020. So I've just moved in. Yeah, I was in a bit here and there through Kiza.
Yeah, but then you took over.
But that was because of you guys. Like, see, guys, what they did for me.
Now hold on. Okay. You also have to give yourself credit, because not everyone knows how to utilize the opportunities they are given, and not everyone can deliver. I'm a deliver person. Project management, business, finance, get the job done. And if you can't, you got one shot with me. and you did it.
Cute. But there is a bit of, you can do something, but you like I always say, you need people to give you a platform, an opportunity. If you don't get that platform, oftentimes, how do you showcase what you can do?
And I'm glad you said you need people to give you an opportunity. I tell people all the time that no matter what role you're in. So I like the fact that you said you need people to give you an opportunity. Just like me, I didn't get to where I am today without people giving me an opportunity. But I think everybody needs to remember that we all have keys to opportunities within our possession. Keys are very much smaller than the doors that they open. And 99% of the time, the key that you have is not for your door. It's for someone else's door. And you can try as hard as you want to use that key to open a door for yourself, and it won't work. What am I saying? Give people opportunities. Anything that comes across, everything is not for you. Give people opportunities so that opportunities will also come to you.
That is so deep. Why are you not a pastor or something?
You know what? My pastor heard me speaking once in a phone conversation, and he goes, "Dang, you're deep." And I'm like, I am not a pastor. That is not my calling. Nope, that's not my calling.
It's not about the pulpit. This is a pulpit, right? And we need people in every space. So yeah, they don't need to take you over in church. We want you in the marketplace.
I wouldn't even fit. I'm too much of a rebel.
So that's how we pretty much met. And then 2020 and my association with, Dubai Tourism really opened the door for me, set me up. I mean, getting interviews with Sasha Jaffa, pretty much. And I remember the plug for Steve Harvey, for all of those amazing opportunities really, really set me up. I'd have people calling me back from Nigeria, even my colleagues back in Lagos, like, "Oh, Mayowa, my gosh, this looks like CNN, the stuff you're sending us," and I mean...
I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you. I'm glad that I wish I had like flowers. Well, we can arrange that. But so thank you. That really, really set me up well in Dubai and the work that I do and every other thing on my road to success, right? So thank you. Your road to success. It's been it's been a roller coaster, I can imagine.
And very unexpected. I started, let's put it this way. I As a young person, my parents weren't sure I was even going to finish university. I was that much of a rebel. I started out in engineering. 3 years into the engineering, I wasn't feeling it. And I didn't want to fail, so I dropped out. My parents are academicians. My father's a professor, my mom's a doctor. And they looked at me like I had 5 heads, and they didn't want to help me. And I sat at home for like a month. And then I had my godfather. He comes to the house, and they're, berating me in front of him. And he's like, well, maybe engineering is not for her. Let's try something else. Let's try on the business side, finance, accounting. So I said, okay. I didn't know anything about it. I had never seen myself on the business side of things. I'm not an entrepreneur by any stretch of the imagination. But I ended up going to business school in the United States, finishing. And within a couple of months, I registered to do my master's, my MBA. My parents nearly fell off their seats. They're like, you are going to do a master's? Are you sure you're going to finish? Oh, let's praise God. Let's do this. And guess what? I was doing my MBA. I was working full time, and I had 2 kids under the age of 3. And I did it. And then thereafter, segued into Deloitte and Touche, because I had a business and accounting background. But I didn't like it. I don't want to sit on spreadsheets and numbers all day long and not really having an impact in the business, except for looking like some policeman of accounting and what everybody's doing. And I got lucky. Again, being in the right place at the right time, I got seconded to Walt Disney World in Florida to be a project controller. And as a project controller, you're in every part of the project. I don't care if it's housekeeping, if it's film, if it's accounting, technology. And I got exposed to quite a bit. And that was when I realized, you know what? I rather like this side of this. I like the entertainment, the hospitality, the tourism, the creativity. I'm not a creative person, but I can support creative people to make sure that their dreams come true. So did Walt Disney for a few years. And again, when opportunities are coming to you, sometimes you might not recognize them. Wyndham Vacation Hotels and Resorts sent me a request for an interview for a director position. And I wasn't a director at Walt Disney World. Walt Disney World is such a great place to work that, literally somebody has to die in upper management before you could get promoted. So I knew that I wasn't going to be a director there anytime soon. But I was like, you're working at Walt Disney World, where else could you possibly go? So Wyndham calls me, and I'm like, nah, I have a job. And I remember then my ex-husband said to me, you never turn down an interview. Just go and see what happens. So I get to the interview with the executive vice president. And about 20 minutes into the interview, he looks at me and he goes, am I boring you? And I was like, oh, no, why, sir? Why are you asking me that? And he goes, because you have been yawning the entire, and I was sleepy and bored. And he looked at me and goes, I'm going to make you want this job so bad. You have no choice to say no. And they made me an offer, a director level offer that I couldn't refuse. And that's how I went to Wyndham. Had great, almost 7 years there. And then I had the bright idea to, again, opportunities. I went to Nigeria for my father's 75th birthday. And while I was there, a lady headhunted me. I know who she is, but I didn't even know that she was in the HR business. And she said, hey, I have a company looking for an executive, a chief executive, C-suite. And she gave me the name of the company, Waka Now. And I was like, Waka what? I'd never heard of them before in my life. Nobody I knew but nobody I knew in Nigeria had ever heard of them. My parents are like, you want to do what? For what company? But I had a great conversation with the founders of Wakanao at the time, Obinna Ekezi and Ralph Tamino, and they believed in me. And I was like, you know what? This sounds like it could be fun. So I packed up my bags, left the United States, off to Nigeria for a company nobody had ever heard of.
Who does that?
Rebels. Rebels. You have to be willing to take risks. Now, I hate risks. I am so risk adverse. I mean, I've done 2 risky things in my life. That was one of them. But it was great. I had an opportunity to break ground and really start to build a name for myself in the hospitality and tourism industry. And it was while I was doing that. So think about it. If I hadn't gone to Wakanao, I would never have come to Dubai Tourism. Because it was while I was at an exhibition for Wakanao internationally that I bumped into an old colleague from Walt Disney World who is now a senior vice president at Dubai Tourism. And he remembered me, even though we had never worked together. And he's like, hey, I have a job in Dubai. I was one of those people that was like, okay, is Dubai in Iraq or Saudi Arabia or where is that again? Americans, we think America is the beginning end of everything. So I was like, really? And again, my family and friends, especially the Americans, they're like, Dubai, you will get bombed. You're going to have to cover your eyes and your nose and everything. And, but I had a great interview with them. And so 18 months later, I packed up my bags and off I went to Dubai. And I didn't have a chance to be lonely. There was a lot of work, and it was a great run. It was a great run.
As you were speaking, a few questions were just popping up in my head. First question, the part where you've got 2 young kids, you're doing a master's, you've got a full-time job. That right there, you have tons of women, mothers, who are having to juggle different balls, women, several hats at the same time. And 2 kids under the age of 3. I'm like, how did you not go crazy? Because I have 1 3-year-old, and oh my God, how did you go through that?
I had a strong support system. My whole family, brothers, sisters, parents were in the United States, and we were all in the same town. So my mother helped immensely, and my sisters all the time, and my brothers. My late brother, Stella Fubara, he actually lived with me from the day I got married until he moved back to Nigeria. So I had a great support system. Also in my spouse at the time. And to be honest with you, I didn't have, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. And he knew that if I had bratty children who threw tantrums and things like that, I'd be in jail for murder because I would have killed them. My kids were quiet. They were adventurous and precocious, but they towed the line, and it was great. And having them so close together meant that they kept themselves company, so they didn't need me. I was not the play person. I look at mothers today that have 1 child at age 4 or 5. And you have to play with the child. I didn't have to do that. So, and I at that time I worked for Nationwide Insurance, and they were very supportive of education. It helps to be in a company that supports women and also understands the value of education. You should never stop learning. And if you're in a company that doesn't support, first of all, if you are the founder of a company or the owner of a company and you don't encourage your staff to continue that learning journey, you're actually hurting yourself because everything that your staff learn, they will use it at the job, in the job. So it's very, very important for you as an individual to grow. And if you are a founder or the head of a company, it's important that you provide an environment where people can grow. Always remember that in order for a company to grow, you've got to have good people. And anything leaders can do to support education, and I'm not just talking academic education, it could be vocational education, it could be opportunities, certification, support your people on their road to success, because if they're good people, as they grow, your company will grow. So, that's one path. There's so many, just so many.
Another path, I posted something on Instagram recently about discomfort being the signal that it's time to grow.
When God wants you to move, He makes you uncomfortable where you are. And a lot of us, we kick against it. We're like, oh my God, why is this? Why am I having so much trouble at work? Why am I having so much trouble in my life? You're so uncomfortable, and yet you don't realize that it's time to move. When you are uncomfortable in a situation, open your eyes and your ears and start to look for the opportunities, because it's time to move.
Time to step up. And that's so true for me. I look at my life and not many instances, because I feel like I've had some critical points, few of them that have led to huge opportunities, huge seasons of my life. I look at, even before I joined channels, it was a season of discomfort where I was working before, everything was funny. You're working like you're not working. There's no excitement anymore. Your pay isn't coming as it should. And all of that is like, am I really working? In that season of discomfort, find myself in channels.
Sometimes even in that discomfort, God still wants you to trust Him. I remember there's a job I was working, I was so uncomfortable, and I was high level, and people were already telling me that, watch out for this, so it looks like they're trying to, to move you. And, I'll never forget it. I was in South Africa, I was in the gym, working out, and a colleague, she's also faith-based, she said to me, trust God, just trust God. She didn't tell me what to do. She just said, trust God. So I get back to the country and I trusted God, and I turned in my resignation. No job.
No plan B.
No plan B. Turned in my resignation at like 9 a.m. in the morning, and 2 o'clock that afternoon, I get an offer letter.
Same day.
Same day. I remember I talked to God a lot, like really talked to Him, bully Him. And I said to myself, are you freaking serious, God? You had to wait for me to give up a job and have that. And I gave it up with peace. I had no idea where my income was going to come from. But I was like, Heavenly Father, really? You couldn't have just given me the new job before I resigned the old one? But guess what? I get it now. You won't catch me again. When it's time to move, I will move. I learned that lesson. So
this is a question I've been looking forward to asking someone. We live in a world, in the marketplace, the career space, the business world. It's all about numbers, performance, and oftentimes growth, elevation, promotion are tied to these very physical things. What role does God play in all of this mix? Leveling up.
You're trying to make me a pastor, and it is not going to happen.
Listen, we love you either way.
You touched on something, promotion, and what role does God play? First of all, sometimes promotion means you take a step back. Sometimes promotion means you take a step down because you are on the wrong ladder. You're on this ladder, you need to be here, but to get here, you got to come back down and go back up. People are so caught up in their job titles and being C-suite or being a manager that sometimes you need to take a step down, go sideways, and get on the right path, or you'll plateau and can't move any further. And the ability to recognize that is very important, especially, sometimes you need to switch careers, switch industries. When you are planning your life, and this is for the younger folk that still have that opportunity, plan your life around skill set and not an industry. Because if you plan it around skill set, you can move that skill set from industry to industry. You know, not every industry has that ability. So for instance, if you go into medicine, you're pretty much stuck in the medical industry. But there are other things that if you recognize your skill set, you can move from place to place. I'll use my daughter as an example. She went off to Hungary to go to medical school. Why? Because from the day she was born, we were like, somebody's going to be a doctor in this family, and it's going to be you, because the older three are not doing it. And she was happy, obliged, to go off. But in her first year, she realized, I don't want to do this. This isn't me. So she switched majors, again, switching to a major that she thought would please her parents. That didn't work out. As a parent, you need to understand your children's strengths and skills. It might not be what you had in mind for them, but if they don't follow their strength and their skill set and their passion, they won't succeed. And so I sat my daughter down and I said, let's talk about the things that you like to do. I'm not talking about academically. What do you like to do? And she started talking about the things, and it was like a light bulb. And I was like, bloody hell, this child has been in the tech world from day one, creating websites and graphics. And she created a Harry Potter game, licensed it, and was selling it, and then went off to university and stopped doing it because it was, So after she told me that, I was like, and, we talked about it, I was like, hey, how about graphic design? None of us knew anything about it. The extent of my knowledge in graphic design was to know that every company needs it. And they are so sought after. All the companies I've been to, the graphic designers, to get on their schedule, they've got projects out that was so difficult. So I was like, you know what? Let's research this. We had some naysayers in the family. Again, we didn't know about graphic design. And we went to the university, and they were like, wow, it's a 3-year degree, and by your second year, you will have a job in a Fortune 500 company. In their university, and this is a UK university, the graphic design students are the first ones to get employed, and they earn 6 figures.
Graphics design.
Yes. I looked at my daughter, I was like, you're on your way, off you go. And she's loving it. And she's doing freelance work while she's still in university, and she's just... she don't have time to do my stuff anymore. I'm begging her, please, I need an invitation card. Mom, I'll get to it in 2 weeks. I'm like, really? But what's the story here? As an African parent, medicine, law, engineering are not the only careers and road to success for your children. Please allow them to thrive in what they're passionate about. The one thing I did tell my kids is, you better do something. The lifestyle you're used to. You better do something that you can afford that lifestyle.
Because Don't come to me. You call your kids your pension plans.
Yeah. Now, everybody doesn't agree with that. You'd be surprised at some of the DMs I get from people like, that's so wrong. You should not rely on your children for your retirement and your old age. I'm like, to each his own. I know what I've invested in my children. And I think it's our responsibility to take care of our parents, because do you know what your parents gave up for you to get to where you are? So how are you giving back? How are you going to show your parents appreciation if you can't take care of them when they can't take care of themselves? So from day one, I brainwashed my kids, you are my pension plans. Because if I was not sending you to university and buying your clothes and doing this, that, and the other, you wouldn't be here. And I would be a millionaire. And my kids are happy about it. They argue amongst themselves. I'm going to be the first one to provide for mommy. And my house is going to have a guest house so mommy can come live in it and blah, blah, blah. They're excited about it. So
it is beautiful.
And I get so much joy. I don't know about others. When I can do things for my parents. I'll wake up one morning and I'm like, hey, I need to transfer some. My parents are not asking me, but I need to just transfer a love gift financially to my parents. And every time I do it, the blessings I get, the prayers I get from my parents are what
Deep.
takes me on. So, don't forget your parents. They created, if they were good parents, they created your road to success. They were the first pillars in your road to success. So you should never forget them.
Awesome. From everything you say, it's very obvious that you embrace your African Black identity a lot. And I'm wondering, how do we navigate, how would you advise people to navigate identity as people in diaspora?
That's deep. So I'm Nigerian American. My parents are Nigerian, and I was born and raised in America. So I've always lived in a country where I was a citizen. Coming to the Middle East, I'm not a citizen. I'm an expat or expatriate. And I did have identity crisis. Wow. Not only am I an expat, I'm a Black expat. And not only am I a Black expat, I'm a female Black expat. Lord. So I'm like triple whammy every which way. And I'm a Nigerian, so the arrogance that comes with being a Nigerian. And so I did go through identity crisis where I was, of course, seen as being arrogant. I was a minority of. Even the lowest minority felt they were above me, and it was demoralizing for a little bit. But therein kicks in your pedigree and your upbringing. I remember when I was 8 years old, my father, who was the only Black scientist working on the NASA project in the United States, he moved us all back to Nigeria. And the only reason he did it, we had a big, beautiful house, lived in a white neighborhood in Ohio, because he wanted his children to have an identity. He said when my brother was 9, he came home from school and said something about Black, something, and my father was like, oh, hell no. We're going home because you need to know who you are. And so we were all raised with a strong identity of who you are. I mean, my dad would tell the males, you are the son of the son, the first son of the first son of the first son of the first son. You have to know who you are, because it might not mean anything to you. And again, I'm talking also as a parent. Imbibe this identity in your children when they're young. It might not mean anything to them when they're young, but as they grow older in life, they're going to find themselves falling back on that identity of who they were. And if you as a parent don't instill that in your child, you are really hindering their road to success.
You've done them a disservice,
Yep.
even, because they will always go back to their roots.
Yep.
And if you
you didn't create those roots,
if
you didn't let them know who they were, if you did not give them an identity, it will be different. And the globalization is real, both in business, in academics, in your personal life. And your identity is what will make you thrive in this global society. If you don't have identity, you're going to become a shadow.
And it will show up in the work you do, in how you respond to people, in your triggers even. Ooh, you've been in the Middle East now for how long?
9 years.
How has that been?
It was a surprise because coming from the United States and, not Nigeria, but the United States, the knowledge of the Middle East is skewed to the negative. And I was a little bit apprehensive moving here. But then I get here, and Dubai is in a world of its own. I am a fan of Dubai till the day I die because of the vision of their leaders. This UAE is a country that loves their people. Now, my son would say, well, Mom, there are less than 2 million of them. It's easy for them to love everybody. But that's not the point. They love their people and they have vision. The rest of us are planning. What year are we in? 2024. People are doing 2025 planning and 2030. The UAE is doing 2050. They have vision. Everything happens for a reason and at an appointed time. And being in the Middle East has taught me to have vision and taught me how to be a leader, and taught me how to respect people. There are 250, at least pre-COVID, there were 250 nationalities living in Dubai. I don't know where that happens anywhere else in the world. I don't know if there's any other city in the world that can boast of having 250 nationalities all living in harmony. This is the most secure country I have ever lived in, and I believe it's in the top 4 worldwide, because you don't have to lock your door. You don't have to lock your car. You can leave your keys in your car.
Come back.
You can put a sticker on your car that says, "Please steal me," and nobody will take your car.
It's unbelievable even, but it's the reality.
It's the reality here. It's not a story. And there are countless stories of visitors I know that come here and they misplace something and they get it back and they're like stunned. I mean, I'm talking, you misplace your handbag and there's $10,000 in it. You're going to get it back with all your money intact. Where else does that take place in the world? Only Dubai. So I have enjoyed every day of my stay in Dubai. I can't speak for other Middle Eastern countries, but the UAE walks the talk and they take care of their people. Recently, we had a flood situation. Within 24 hours of the flood, companies stepping up to the plate, Emaar, one of the largest property developers here, putting out a notice that if you live in an Emaar property and you have damage, contact us and we'll fix it for you for free.
No charge.
Where does that happen? The other day, my son and I, 2 days ago, we were driving on the road and there was still a little bit of water flood in that area. And here's an Emirati. I don't know what he does for a living. He had on one of those like neon jackets that shows, he's part of government. And he's handing out food in nice packages. Of course, I didn't take one, but every driver who wound down their window, every delivery guy on a motorcycle, he was handing out food.
Humility.
It's amazing.
I don't know if that's going to happen in my country, but hey, let's focus. There's an elephant in the room, and it's with the African community, the Nigerian community, even here. Where do you think we may have gotten things wrong? There's a lot of narrative out there. There's a lot people say. And from your position, your experience, the conversations you've had privilege to be a part of, what would you say has been missing, and where did we get it wrong? Success
starts from the leader. Every company I've been in that has had any measure of success, it's because of the leader. And I say this for all African countries, not just Nigeria. Until our leadership starts to love us more than they love money, until our leadership starts to work for us and not for themselves, until our leadership takes home less money on a monthly basis than the public and the private sector, we're not going to get much better. It's sad. It's all about leadership. Visionary leaders, look at them and see what they create. And then look at non-visionary leaders and see what happens to them. Look at Rwanda. You can call Kagame a dictator if you so wish, but he loves his people and he's moving his country forward and he's creating an identity for his people. And Rwandans are proud. They're the next proudest African country. And I say pride, not arrogance. They know where they came from and they strove to fight and build an identity for themselves. Democracy is not for every country because sometimes you have to interpret democracy within the environment of the culture of that country. So democracy, the way it is practiced in America, does not work in every country, not even in the UK. And the sooner countries start to realize it and find a form of government that works for them, we'll keep floundering.
Ooh, let's sit there for a minute. That is so deep. And, we were just talking about the UAE, for instance, and talking about expressions of love, not just to the citizens, but also to residents. And now you flip that and we're looking at the Africa situation and and how that extends to Africans here. And for me, I said something sometime. I said, sometimes there's this term, jakpa, right? Which, pretty much means relocate, leave your country, go somewhere else. And sometimes I said, even when you leave Nigeria, Nigeria will not leave you. Because you look at what's happening to Nigerians in the UAE, for instance, and you realize that a lot of it is tied to what's happening with the leadership. And I don't know how.
All of it.
She said it. And it's like, you leave the country, you've left, you're trying to build yourself, you go and you're finding your road to success, trying to make a name for yourself, of which whatever success you have, it still goes back home, right? We still send money, we remit. And to see how even the leadership in your home country affects you in that foreign land, that is just wild to me.
It's sad that your behavior will follow you from your country. And when it's government behavior, that's
God help you.
Yes, because whatever your government is doing or not doing in the country where you live, you will suffer the repercussions of that. I tell my kids, and I remember delivering a lecture for some mentees, that if you want to know what the government of a country is like, go to their embassies, their international embassies that they have in other countries. So you're in the Middle East, go take a look at the U.S. embassy. Then you'll understand what the U.S. government is like. Likewise, go take a look at some of the African embassies, and then you'll understand that they moved their behavior from their country to the international country where they are. So anytime you're traveling, just drive. Embassies are normally clustered together in the same areas in a city. Just take a drive down streets where embassies are, and try to guess when you see a building which continent it's coming from, and then you'll start to see.
Let's go to sweet memories. Your time in Dubai, working with Dubai Tourism, some of the exciting projects. We talk about the Dubai Girls, for instance. I mean, that is unforgettable.
And that is another example of road to success. Similar to you, I was approached by Omoni Oboli. Never met her before. I'm not a movie person, so whatever's going on in the movie industry, I have no clue. I remember the first time I met RMD. I didn't know who he was. And a friend of mine, she goes, "Oh, I'd like you to meet someone." And she goes, "Meet RMD." And I'm like, "Oh, nice to meet you. What does that stand for?"
Oh my God.
Everybody around me was like, "Oh, no, she didn't." He was so humble. He was not offended. He goes, Richard Mufedamjo. I'm like, "Okay, what do you do?" That's how bad I am in the movie industry. I've learned a little bit since then. But what am I getting to? Omoni, I don't know her. And she says, "We'd like to do a project for Dubai Tourism." And I said to her, "Okay, I don't have anything now, but I'll think about you if something comes up." 2 years is how long she waited. That's why I said, when the opportunity is yours, it's yours. What if I had pushed to bring her in? That it might not have worked. But anyway, 2 years later, I call her and I'm like, "Hey, are you ready for a project? I have no idea what the project's supposed to be, but you told me you're creative and you're going to do this." And she goes, "I'm coming with my girls." She said, "I want to show you, don't pay us. I want to show you what we can do." And I was like, "No problem."
What?
That is how the Dubai Girls birthed. Omoni Oboli, Ufoma McDermott, Uche Jumbo, and Chioma Akpota. They came here with an open heart, open mind, full creativity to have fun. And even those of us that live here were like, "You did that on a desert?" We've been on desert safari, but they made it seem like something so exciting. And they're one of the few celebrities that we brought back to Dubai 3, maybe 4 times because of the energy they had. That's an example of a really weird road to success for them, and ultimately for me, because I believed in them. I didn't even know what I was believing in because I had never watched them in any movie. I had no idea what they do, but I was like, you know what? Her passion came across, and I was like, have at it.
And now it's become a big thing. Like they went to the UK.
Yeah, forget that UK thing.
Not as exciting as Dubai.
Omani, Chioma, Ufama, you will always be Dubai girls. You can go to any country you want, but remember it started here.
Oh my God. What else has been exciting?
Doing things for the unexpected. We partnered with a philanthropist out of Nigeria who had been very instrumental in finding young leaders, again, he's trying to create vision. And it was during COVID. I'd never met this guy before. We happened to sit down and talk, and I was like, wow, where do you take these visionary students that you find? And he would take them to Ghana, to London, and I was like, but what about Dubai? Can we support you? And so he did. The name of the organization was Prince Will's Trust. Prince Will's Trust ran a campaign only for university students. You had to be less than 30, either doing your first degree or a graduate degree, and he charged them to write an essay of their own passion, turn it in, it would be judged, and the top 10 would get to go for a week to Dubai to see a visionary city, to see how it works, to give them imagination. And I thought, and he was footing most of the bill for the trip. So he put his money and his mouth in the project. To see those students arrive here, most of them had never even had a passport before. To see them arrive here and not do the normal touristy stuff, but to go to back of the house, Burj Khalifa, and see how it operates, I hope that every single one of them went back a different person. We also did that with, for artists, River State, which is a state in Nigeria. We worked with the Director General of Tourism. His name is Yibo Koko. And he ran a competition for all 23 local governments in that state to identify top artists. And what was their task? Do an artist rendering of your idea of Dubai. So they did it, they sent it to us, and we picked the top 3. These 3 had never even been to an airport before. And they came here for a week. And in their words, none of them has ever been the same. They now understand that being an artist is not a death threat, that you can be somebody. You talked about interviewing...
Steve Harvey?
No, the artist... Sasha Jeffrey, who set a record here by creating the largest indoor mural.
Canvas.
That's an artist. So, we're giving hope where there seems to be none. Another thing we did once was Dubai Shopping Festival. This was one of the first projects I did coming to Dubai.
You did that?
Yes, we sponsored 200 people to come to Dubai to experience the Dubai Shopping Festival. Put them in 5-star hotel, bought their flight tickets, gave them shopping money, a little. It was 200 people. Again, 70% of those people had never been to Dubai before. It was crazy. So we've done some really exciting, crazy things, and I hope to continue to do those kind of impactful things as I round up my career.
So what next?
Well, I will always have a home in Dubai. My kids are here loving it. My son's journey, his road to success in Dubai is a totally different story, but it's hope for the youth. Again, being willing to take a risk,
Which you don't like?
which
Much?
I don't. Well, I like risks with safety net. If there's no safety net, I do not like wondering where the next dollar is coming from. So that's what I mean by not taking risks. But I'll be doing some amazing things starting next month. Probably still in the same ecosystem, but really global, and touching a lot more of the creative industry and the hospitality industry. I'm also doing my PhD, which I'll round up next year. I have a mad, crazy friend. You know, COVID made us do some silly things. In the midst of COVID, she goes, "Why don't we go do a PhD? To plan our second careers, if you will."
Second careers?
Yes, because if you want, one of the careers that you can do till you die or until your brain goes is lecturing in a university.
Or coaching.
But you can't do that without a PhD. So we figured we'd go get PhDs and start lecturing and get into the academia and have the ability to give back to the youth all this knowledge that we've gained. So we started PhD during COVID. Both of us, within the first 2 weeks, we were quitting.
It's like,
We were like,
I can't.
what the heck? But we persevered, and we'll both be graduating next year.
That's amazing.
Again, always learn. Stay
Never
on the
stop
learning
learning.
path. My mom is 80 years old this year. Been married for 60 years.
I was coming to that.
And she still lectures at 80.
Wow.
So I used to think that when I was 50, I was going to retire. My mom was like, if you retire, you will die. You have to stay busy and stay active, and that will prolong your life.
Stay productive.
So with my mom, who is 80,
And she's still going.
The road is long for us now.
Well, let's talk about 60 years in marriage.
Which wasn't me.
When you, by the way, when you posted that, I'm like, what? Please bring us the masterclass, the books, the anointing oil, the laying on, like 60 years. You've been a part of that journey, obviously. But what is it like to see two people be together for?
And my mom is very open about the 60-year marriage journey. It's not a bed of roses. And she said, she tells people all the time, you have to be forgiving. Because your spouse is going to do some BS that you were not raised for. You have to be forgiving. You have to work hard at it. Of all the institutions in the world, marriage is the one that if you don't work at it, it will not work.
There's no autopilot for that one.
There is no, and forgiving and accommodating. So you don't like yam, but your spouse loves yam.
Guess what?
So you're gonna freaking cook yam for him. Your spouse, there are a lot of guys, women, they don't like to clean, but he does. Damn your peers and get into that house
And clean.
Unfortunately, African men, very few are wired that way. So for all you young African women looking to marry an African man, if he cleans,
He's a keeper.
he's a keeper. Forget about all the other bad stuff he does. If he cleans and if he supports your success, if he supports your dream, if he supports your career, regardless of where his is, he's a keeper. Because so many women, I mean, come on, your parents sent you to school for a reason. And then you get married and you got someone telling you you're not going to work.
On it.
Why? Why would you want to put a cap on it? My father, when he married my mother, she had just finished secondary school. My mom was 20. she wasn't really interested in academics or all of that world. But my father pushed her every step of the way. Go get your undergrad. Go get your master's. Wow. Go get your PhD. Wow. And he always used to say, my wife, I need to equip my wife that if I am not there, my children's lifestyle will not change. So he pushed my mom every step of the way. My dad is everybody's biggest cheerleader. Every day he tells my mom how beautiful she is. Every day he will tell someone else how beautiful his wife is. Every trip my dad would make overseas, he has to come back with a present for my mom. And my mom's stingy, unassuming woman that she was. She's not stingy, but she would like, stop buying me stuff. Don't buy me stuff. I'm like, take it. But every morning, my dad, he'll walk into the breakfast room and he'll look at us and he goes, isn't my wife beautiful?
Wow.
And we're like, Daddy, you're 70, 80, soon to be 90 years old. She's 80. What is all this beauty? Every Sunday after church till today, they take pictures. My father will make sure that a picture is taken in front of the house every day. So every Sunday we get a picture of my parents. And he started sending them the pictures to our pastor, Pastor Paul Adefarase. And I remember Pastor Paul called me and say, is something today special? I said, no, we are going to get this picture every Sunday. Every Sunday.
Wow.
Whether my mom is frowning or not, every Sunday they take a picture after church.
I need to talk to your parents at this point. But that is such a beautiful, beautiful story. And we just hope that everyone gets to have such a story, right?
Yep.
So what's it like to be their daughter looking at this?
We call ourselves, the girls, my mom's name is Vinolia. So anytime anything comes up where we're excelling, we will, even to my father, we'll say, after all, we're Vinolia's daughters. And that really annoys my dad. He's like, I'm a good person too. But my mom is very, very hardworking, and she's a clean freak. And she grew up at a time where, each meal was a 3-course meal. And she still does it today. You go to my parents' house to eat today, you'll have the soup come out on a charger, and then you will have the main course, and there must be fruit to dessert, and there must be salad till today. And I'm like, Mommy, please, who eats like this today? We don't even do that. And eat in your bedroom?
It's got to be at the table.
No, it's got to be at the table. That's my mom. But anyway, as one of their kids, I'm immensely proud to be one of their children. Immensely proud of what they've accomplished. And the fact that they put all of us on the road to success. My dad is the biggest cheerleader of all his kids. My mom was more the disciplinarian. But when you wanted support and you needed someone to rub your back and encourage you, you go to my dad.
Like you, with your mom being a disciplinarian, no?
Oh no, I'm the cheerleader. Whatever my kids are doing or anybody's doing, I want to push you to get to it. So I am everyone in my family knows Kalani is the biggest cheerleader. But I guess I learned it from my dad. But it feels so good to encourage other people to be part of someone else's success. It actually feels even more warm than your own success. To know that you help find joy in someone else's life, it's such a fantastic feeling. So people will tell you, I remember I just had dinner with 2 ladies. I'll mention them, Udo Ukonjo and Dr. Olayemi Dawodu, who owns Lancet Clinic, the laboratory. And within 10 minutes of our sitting down, Udo looks at me and she goes, you truly like to help people. She just told you something, and you're on your phone trying to make it happen. I love to make things happen for people. It's just, and hopefully, I believe, especially for young ones, every time I'm helping someone else's child, I believe I'm putting help in a piggy bank for my kids.
100%.
The more children I help, the
Someone's
more
gonna-
my children will be helped. I don't believe that any knowledge is just for me. If I hear that they're giving out gold on Sheikh Zayed Road, I'm going to call you. I'm going to
Sign
call
me
all my
up.
friends. Come on. Does it mean I'm going to get less gold? Maybe, but we'll all be happier if we all get gold. Because guess what? If I'm the only one that gets gold,
You're
guess
in
what I
trouble.
have to do? I have to give it to you guys. So come on and come get your gold yourself.
That's amazing. You know, just thinking about gold, I was thinking about golden visa, but then I was now thinking about Dubai. And then I remembered your brother.
Carrie B. Carrie B passed away from cancer at the age of 46 here in Dubai. And in his relatively short life, we did not realize the impact he had in people's lives until he died. I will say this to everyone out there. Forget this celebration of life you do when people pass away. It is annoying. Do it while they are alive. Let them feel it. Let them bask in it. Let them enjoy it. Let them know that they're appreciated while they're alive. When my parents pass away, if you leave it up to myself and my siblings, it will be a little quiet funeral because we're celebrating our parents while they're alive. This year, again, 60th anniversary and 80th birthday, we will have the biggest celebration we can. We're doing a book of tributes. People are going to write in. Let them read those tributes. Who are you doing book of tributes to when someone's passed away? What the heck? Carrie passed away, and from all over the world, he was involved in Nollywood, in Hollywood, in entertainment, in engineering, and even when he got cancer, he didn't keep it to himself. A lot of people fall ill and they keep it to themselves because they feel some witch is going to hear about it and make them die. If you're going to die, you're going to die. Carrie shared his cancer with the world every step of the way. He was on an all-night session with Nathaniel Bassey. It shook the atmosphere. Till today, we get people telling us, oh my gosh, if Carrie hadn't told us to check something here, I just was diagnosed with cancer, but it's stage 1, so I'm going to be okay. He would do videos. And again, me being the cheerleader, every month I was posting about my brother. Oh, we went jogging, or we did this, or we did that. I had this ritual at home where I would weigh him every week and publish it to the family. Carrie gained a kg. It was like, and I got him into it. And I photographed or videoed every minute of the last 2 years of his life. I had over 700 pieces of content because I wanted to remember him.
I'm sure it must have made it all the more painful for you.
It wasn't. And let me tell you why. Well, it was painful. But because I gave everything I had
When he was here.
in the last 2 years of his life, he lived with me here in Dubai, I had no regrets when he left because I gave him everything. I wanted to make sure that happiness was not going to be a problem while he was living with me. Cancer treatment is expensive. My brothers and I and my sisters and my parents rallied around to make sure that he did not look for a penny. And then he has this group of friends. We call them the brothers. He grew up with them from when they were alive. I changed all their diapers. Daniel Nwato, JJ Alabraba, DK Ibe, Dele Balogo, and Richard Daniels. Those boys carried him. They own a company together, and throughout the time he was sick, they paid his salary, even though he couldn't do anything. But what am I getting at? We loved on him, all of us, while he was alive. It made it easier when he passed.
Because there was no regret.
No.
Oh, I could have said I love you, or I could have done this.
Now, if outside of that cancer, if you had asked me on any given day, Kalani, I need $5,000, I'd be like, nope, I don't have it. And I truly probably didn't. But when Carrie fell ill, we never lacked money. No matter how much his treatment cost, we never lacked money. It's amazing. So, guys, this posthumous thing we do, celebrate people while they're, show them we love them while they're alive. Don't miss a day. My parents are mushy. Every phone call, I love you. I'm like, okay, yeah, mommy, I love you too. I mean, my dad is the mushiest. Oh my God. But never miss an opportunity to tell someone that you love them. Never.
Pour it all out.
In action or in word.
So, Nigeria, UAE, the world. What is the next big thing? I mean, you're the one who's a rebel.
All of those. All of those.
What should we expect from you? You can spill the beans. It's
No.
okay.
It's a lot on my plate. But then again, I'm excited about it because this company and this leader, I'm actually not going to work for a company. It is a company, but I'm actually going to work for a leader. He's quiet and doing amazing things, always behind the scene. He is visionary. He's pulling me in to the company to be a pillar because of the vision he has for the next 5-10 years for the company. And I bought into that. And guess what? Again, be a giver. Where did this opportunity come from? I was on the phone with my pastor, Pastor Paul Adefra. Pastor Paul Adefra is the biggest connector I know of in the world.
You need to connect me now.
He identifies everybody's skill and he does connections as they're needed. Talking to Pastor Paul, and he's like, hey, I want you to meet someone on the phone. And he dials this gentleman in, and we talk for about an hour. Nothing happened. Again, timing is everything. I went off to Saudi for a couple of months. When Saudi was over, I was going to Nigeria for something. I can't remember what it was. And I said to myself, hey, let me let this guy know I'm going to be in town. And he goes, really? Can you come to the office? And I'm like, sure. And he goes, this is what I want, blah, blah, blah. From the very first conversation we had, the vision clicked, and boom, an opportunity. And I was like, wow. Only one person, there were only two people that I let know that I was coming into the country. Just like that. And the guy is really amazing. I'm not mentioning his name because I'm not sure that he would want me to. Because he has a strong presence about him, but he doesn't like his name thrown around.
He just likes to get the work done. Oh, anyway, I'm sure in time we will eventually find out.
You're still going to be in my space. The route I'm going, you're still going to be in my space.
Awesome. What would be your, say, just in wrapping up, a message to anyone who's watching? Could be an immigrant, could be a mom, could be a career person, could be someone navigating transitions or seasons, someone unsure, someone stuck. Just what is your message?
Two messages. One is, if you're stuck, it means you're uncomfortable because you wouldn't use the word stuck. Discomfort means you need to move. You need to pray to God to show you the opportunity, to make the opportunity, and you need to be in a position that the opportunity can come to you.
Personal branding.
Personal branding, major, which includes the internet and technology. So many women, I don't want to be on social media. Fine, don't get on there. That person who is looking for you, that has the key to your opportunity, you might not find them. So when you're stuck, you're uncomfortable, you need to put yourself in an opportunity and an environment where opportunities can come to you. And the second thing is, when you are in need of something, let's just say, and this goes back to creating opportunities for others. If you want an opportunity, create it for someone else. Whatever you lack in your life, give it to someone else. In the Bible, it talks about the widow who gave her widow's mite. She had a child, and this was the only food. There was no more food in the house. and she gave it away. She gave away what she needed. And then see what happened to her. So give what you need and see what happens to you. If you're looking for money, give money away. If you're looking for a job, help someone find a job. If you're looking, for education, help educate someone else. That's what I'd like to leave your audience with.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Stella Fubara on the Road to Success podcast. You heard it here first, okay? So when they finally do the anointing service and, they bring her into the fold.
Father, Lord, you have not revealed this to me.
Don't worry, God in part. It just didn't show you that part. He knew you'd run away, but we have seen it.
I'm too naughty to be a pastor.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. It's been such an exciting, insightful, unforgettable conversation. And we say thank you for being a part of it. You know what to do. Share your comments, share your thoughts, share this video with as many people as you know, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.